Ready to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Yay! We're always so happy to be back together again doing this podcast. We've been doing it for so long, Carolyn.
Yeah, it's so fun. Yeah, we get to blather on about amazing things that can save your life, and we treat it so lightly. It's, oh yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. But it is really great. We've been at it for a long time. If you're just joining us for the first time on Facebook, on X, or on YouTube, this is the very wonderful, delicious, and delightful Dr. Carolyn Dean, who is a MD and a naturopath and a researcher and a CEO of her own company. She wears a lot of hats. But tonight, in this 1 hour, she's going to devote the I am a doctor hat to you. And she's going to talk to you about the biological nature of your cellular structure and what it requires for optimal living. Would I say that right, Carolyn, do you think?
Oh, yeah. It's hard for us to get across how simple it could be to be as healthy as Ginny and I are.
Yes.
People don't believe us.
Yes.
But when people swallow the Kool-Aid, which is our mineral water, which is sea salt in your water, and then your magnesium and your multiple minerals. I also put in my silver and my zinc and copper, and you drink it through the day. It changes everything, because minerals are the most important cofactors, nutrients in your body. They create all the metabolic processes or allow them to work. So if you don't have your minerals, you really don't have your energy, and 80% of known metabolic functions require magnesium alone. And what has happened in even alternative medicine, where doctors say, yeah, you got to get your vitamins and your minerals, they just make a list. And a lot of doctors now are selling products, or they tell you to go to a health food store, and you don't know what you're getting. You really do not know. And I found that out when I realized that to treat my severe magnesium deficiency, for which I had heart palpitations and a dozen other symptoms, I could not take regular magnesium compounds. They gave me the laxative effect. And everybody I talk to, because I'm doing a lot of talking now here in Maui, I have a monthly whatever webinar. It's not a webinar. What do you call something when you're in the public? I have public lectures now, and I'm at the market and at our farm store, at the farmer's market. And I walk the beach walk, talking to people all the time. And if you get to the point of talking about magnesium, oh yeah, I'm taking magnesium, but they're not taking the right kind. And so they haven't had the full benefits of what saturating with a unique magnesium product that I created with a chemist. This magnesium is a stabilized ion of the mineral. And it's the ion in the picometer size that the cells want to work with. They can't work with a magnesium compound. So we've got something so unique that it's hard to explain. People don't understand it. And it's mainly people who, we can see it at the market. Julie and I, when we talk to people, it's like a light bulb. Oh my gosh, that sounds perfect. I'm going to do it. The next week they come back and they talk about amazing transformations in their energy and this and that. So that's what we're doing. We're doing God's work, basically, to educate people about what they need to take, but not only that, give them the exact thing that they need. Not just a bunch of words to say, oh yeah, this mineral does so many things. But if you don't have the mineral that your body can utilize, then yeah, it's not going to work. And it doesn't work for most people. So that's what we're about, giving you the information that you need about these minerals, but giving you the minerals themselves. And along with that, the food-based vitamins, because we hear about methylation all the time. I'm going to get to the point where I talk about NAD. It's a nicotinamide product. And what all the big guys are saying now is, you've got to buy my NAD product. This is the cat's meow. They're always saying it's needed in the mitochondria. It works in the Krebs cycle. What is NAD? It's a downstream product of vitamin B3, niacin. And what do they do to give you this NAD? Is they give you synthetic vitamin B3. And they expect that you'll read all the literature that they've given you and how awesome it is for your DNA and your metabolism and your this and your that. But they don't tell you it's synthetic. Your body can fight against synthetic nutrients looking for natural. And what we've done is made food-based bees. There's food-based and methylated bees. Methylation is another huge thing where the advertising about supplements will go on and on about methylation and get your genes tested and see if you have the MTHFR gene variants. It's not a bad gene, it's just a different gene. But since about 40-50% of the population can have an MTHFR methylation gene variation, I say, okay, everybody just take a bee that is naturally methylated. So that's my philosophy. I've been at this for 50, 60 years now, since I was in my teens. So I know what my body needs. I know what, in general, people's bodies need. And those are the handful of nutrients that Ginny and I work with. Am I right, Ginny?
You are correct. You are absolutely correct. And it is so simple to think that you can add all this amazingness to your body. Sea salted water, your minerals, you sip it throughout the day, and you've handful of food-based vitamins, and off you go. And there is such incredible marketing right now in the dietary supplement industry. It is a billion dollar industry. Mm-hmm. And people, especially when they don't feel good, think, they're very subjected and left very easily to take things that they may not need because they are desperate. And mm-hmm. Also, if you feel really good, you might think, wow, I could feel even better. You mean I could feel even better? And then you buy some $160 peptide product thinking you could feel even better. And you find out that that's a marketing scam too. So you've really got to go. If the FDA did anything right, it was setting up DSHEA, which is the Dietary Supplement Act, which basically said 22 vitamins and minerals are protected by the FDA as being untouchable because they are essential to human health. And those are the ones that we work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Okay, what do? We now go to our library. We're still working with our magnesium the Missing Link to Total Health book.
Yeah.
And the blog of today is about magnesium for our healthy heart.
Yes.
So you can see this at drcarolyndean.com, my weekly blog. And also on the lineup, it's at the bottom of the homepage. There'll be our radio shows, podcasts I've done. It's just the ongoing media. But I start this blog out, Ginny, with a quote from the other magnesium book, my magnesium. Where am I in my? Yeah, the Magnesium Miracle. That really set it off. This is the book. This is the book that saved my life, because when I was living in Manhattan doing the AIDS and chronic fatigue study, Random House, I don't know if they saw me on some of the morning television shows, including The View, and I had a little health encyclopedia out with a small health publisher. And Random House approached me and asked me to write a book on magnesium. And I realized that was all my symptoms. Magnesium deficiency was just controlling my whole life. So then I used store-bought magnesium, got the laxative effect, and after the book was published, I set about trying to find a non-laxative magnesium. Finally had to get a chemist. A chemist and I worked together to create a very concentrated, stabilized ion of magnesium that the body utilizes. So when I wrote the Magnesium Miracle, here's one of my quotes. Magnesium therapy would absolutely have a profound effect on improving the health of the whole population, yet doctors won't draw their own conclusions from thousands of papers proving that magnesium is essential to life. Instead, they treat magnesium as if it were a drug to be positioned in randomized clinical trials to make sure there's no placebo effect. Personally, I think we have actually reached the point of malpractice to withhold this vital information from the public. So I say these words, the public reads them, the doctors don't, or some doctors do. We have some wonderful doctor affiliates. So we've got magnesium researchers, their whole living, their salary depends on them endlessly studying this money-making mineral. So they never draw any conclusions because that would curtail their funding. So you're never going to get a conclusion from science. So magnesium is in there preventing muscle spasms of the blood vessels in the heart, which can lead to heart attack. It prevents muscle spasms of the peripheral blood vessels, and that can lead to high blood pressure if all your arteries and arterioles are tight from magnesium deficiency. See, the muscles, they relax with magnesium, they tighten with calcium. When you don't have enough magnesium, you usually have a relatively high calcium, and that tightens, calcifies, and causes a lot of symptoms in the heart and the blood vessels. Yeah. And then magnesium prevents calcium buildup in cholesterol plaque in arteries, which leads to the clogged arteries, atherosclerosis, and stroke. So from my perspective, most people that I've worked with don't have a heart problem. They have a magnesium deficiency problem. And then we have magnesium that helps make nitric oxide, and that dilates blood vessels. And you have a whole subset of nitric oxide supplements. They're marketed. You have whole companies based on giving you nitric oxide. But when you look at the label, they're magnesium compounds that are your nitric oxide precursors. So just take your picometer magnesium. So I won't go into any more of the blog, but here's a sidebar. What I've been listening to in podcasts recently is a lot of it's in the carnivore world to a large extent. They finally realized that sugar is being accepted as a cause of heart disease, but they're still trying to figure out about LDL, because in a carnivore diet, you're eating a lot of meat and fat, and your LDL goes up. LDL is supposedly the bad cholesterol. But the carnivores, their LDL goes up, they're eating meat, but they don't develop heart disease. So this became another nail in the coffin against the cholesterol theory of heart disease. So their research is valuable to help debunk the great cholesterol scam. So generally in heart disease, the arteries become inflamed and stiffer, and people develop high blood pressure long before the LDL plaque forms. So what's that? That's magnesium deficiency. Magnesium is anti-inflammatory. The blood pressure is created to a large extent by the tightening of the muscles along the arteries and the tiny capillaries. And the plaque, okay, with all that pressure on tight arteries, there's a little bit of tearing, wear and tearing, and that's caused by vitamin C deficiency, because collagen is necessary to make the artery walls healthy and smooth. So the plaque is forming to heal the wounds of these pressurized arterial walls. Nobody gets to that point. They never get to the point of saying what's causing the actual damage. They just, well, the pressures, but they never talk about vitamin C. And they've never figured out that ascorbic acid and glucose travel on the same protein transporter, which is insulin, which means vitamin C is not allowed to enter cells to make collagen to protect the arteries. And there's no vitamin C to act as an antioxidant to keep the cell from dying in a puddle of waste. So this is a classic circular bubble of research that never thinks to dip into any other territory of nutrient cofactors that make the biochemical processes in the body work. So it's really quite alarming. You have it's like a specialist focus on LDL and cholesterol and this and that, trying to make a dietary therapy for heart disease, and just ignoring magnesium and zinc and vitamin C and the B vitamins. So it's really quite scary that they've become so specialized. And what's going to be worse is when we get to the point of AI telling us everything, and the nutrients aren't taken into consideration with the AI information. It'll just keep going on and on and on with the specialists, the allopathic medicine specialists saying, oh, we have to keep using statins, or the dietary people saying, well, you just have to eat stricter and stricter carnivore and you'll get everything you need. And it's interesting because they've spent there's so much research. There's got to be a lot of money that's thrown into this LDL research in the carnivore world to prove, well, LDL is actually okay. And then they're left with, well, what's going on with cholesterol? And they don't turn to the vitamin C and the magnesium that we know about. So back to you, Ginny. What do you think of all that?
Well, I think it's anybody's good fortune to have the information from you. And I think that it's information that should not be ignored and should be profoundly and rapidly shared through all social media channels for anybody who's listening or listens in the future. Because these are the kind of things that we get lulled into a sleep about. And also, if our regular GPs and practitioners are not telling us this, we may not know. But I think it would be very challenging to think even the healthiest person who is the most physically fit and has the most powerful aerobic or whatever structure in their body has not been a victim of the tearing of their arterial walls through a lack of vitamin C and not having the way to properly repair their walls, and also to flush out the plaque that has built, which, as you know, Carolyn, comes from a combination of proline and also lysine, right? Which I really feel if you're using 2 scoops of Restructure every day with 2,000 milligrams or essentially 4 grams of lysine, that you're really on your way there along with our vitamin C reset powder. But we are going to double down and even improve on that to make sure that we can say for a certainty that this protocol will help you if you are suffering from that right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just can't be ignored any longer. So that's well, it was on my blog, but I embellished it, Ginny. I sidebarred it and embellished it. Yeah.
Well, it's good because it dovetails in a question that we have on the chat line that I want to bring to you right now. And that question is, do we really need copper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What more do you need? Yes, we need copper. Yes. Yeah, they Carl Pfeiffer back in the 70s when I was in doing my naturopathic training, we learned about Carl Pfeiffer. He thought copper was bad. I think he implied it in this whole schizophrenia model. But anyway, everybody got the impression that you shouldn't take copper. And we know from actually our Amish community that they were concerned about copper. But what they were talking about is copper compounds, where we use copper in our multiple mineral, but it's a bioavailable copper ion, low dose. When we went kind of high dose zinc, because that is the mineral that is antiviral. That mineral is what ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine seek when they're doing their anti-parasitic, antiviral work. Ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine are ionophores. They open up the cell mineral ion channels to allow zinc to enter the cell and kill the viruses. Well, you don't need an ionophore if you have a picometer-sized stabilized ion of zinc already or copper already, which we have. And copper, I mean, they've done enough animal studies where if you don't have copper in animals, they have all kinds of changes in their skin, hair, and nails. There's tons of research on the importance of copper for all the organs in the body, but it has been ignored and attacked for many years. So I don't know what more to say.
Very good. Well, it interacts with the vitamin C part of our process, right?
Yes, it helps with collagen production. Right.
Yeah.
It's in the Krebs cycle. A little dot of copper is necessary in there as well as the B vitamins. So see, everything interacts. And that's why when people will say to us, well, tell me what 1 or 2 nutrients will help this condition, we kind of have to pull back a bit and say, you want healthy cells. To get a healthy cell, you need your essential fatty acids and your vitamin D and a lack of the omega-6 fats and oils to make healthy cell membranes. And then you go inside and you need all the rest of them, the vitamins and minerals. So it's very basic. I mean, we've been built perfectly. And if we stay with the perfect vitamins and minerals that were in our environment back in the day, I mean, all the minerals in sea salt, there's 72 of them. That's why we put sea salt in our drinking water. And the reason why I'm so big on magnesium is 100 years ago, we were getting about 500 milligrams of magnesium in an ordinary diet. And now we're lucky to get 200. And for the reason of the laxative effect, the RDA of magnesium is only at like 350 milligrams, whereas we probably need 600 milligrams now. We need more than the 500 milligrams from 100 years ago because we've got so much more toxicity and stress in our environment.
Yes, yes, very good, excellent. I want to also just acknowledge Matilda, saying thank you for being here every week. Thank you for being here, Matilda. And also, Carolyn, to your point about we need healthy cells, what about when somebody like Super Dougie says, what can I do for my prostate? Is it the same?
Well, prostate, I think we've said this before. If it's an inflammation, then it could be yeast overgrowth. And that's where you have to look at our silver and our Flora Revive for balancing out your yeast, and also zinc, which is a very important mineral for the prostate and for all the male genitals in general. But there's the whole picture and then the added. My whole world is about magnesium and mineral deficiencies and yeast overgrowth. If I can get that across to people, if you're doing your magnesium and your multiple and maybe our methylated and food-based Bs, that may not be enough. You may start to look at, well, maybe I should look at yeast overgrowth. Maybe I have had too many antibiotics or I ate too much sugar. So look at the whole picture.
Very good. Excellent. Always rely on customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Always, because they're always there to help you discern some things and fix some things and help some things. So very good. All right. What shall we talk about now, Dr. Dean?
We go on to Maha.
Okay.
Every week now, I'm talking about the good things that Maha is trying to do. I'm skeptical because I don't think the government is going to change, but it gives us the story of what needs to happen and then what we can individually do. I just take action. When I see seriously, I'm walking along, I see some garbage, I will pick it up. 100 people have passed that garbage and they won't pick it up. But I act like I own everything. I'm in charge of everything. I'm responsible for everything. And I just take action. And that's what we've done with Maha over the decades is take action on my own health and then pass on the information. So here's what I came across for Maha today. It's this organization, well, it's part of the government. It's a body called the United States Preventive Services Task Force, USPSTF. So what happened was Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr., abruptly canceled their meeting that was supposed to occur last week. And the article said the move raises concerns that the USPSTF may face a similar fate as CDC's federal vaccine advisors who were all fired. So these clowns were set to discuss diet, physical activity, and weight loss to prevent cardiovascular disease in adults. So this agency has been in place since 1984. So for over 40 years, they've watched the health of Americans decline like a sinking ship, and you better believe they should be ejected from their positions. So here's what I found out about this task force. It's an independent volunteer group of national experts in prevention and evidence-based medicine that makes recommendations about clinical preventative services. What are those services? Are they telling people like we do to eat organic, support organic farming? Are they putting people on picometer minerals and food-based vitamins so they can make the healthiest cells possible? No. This clown show is advocating, one, screening tests. What do? They get people to take drugs earlier. They say they want to catch your problem as early as possible to treat you with a drug for your heart or for your migraines or your pain. And it just makes you more and more magnesium deficient because it's probably magnesium deficiency in the first place. Two, they advocate the counseling services, again, to steer people toward these preventive measures. But they're steering people toward victimhood and medication. And most important for their funding, they advocate preventative medications. And that's not prevention. That's making people sicker. And for their funding, which means drug companies are probably funding this task force, or the volunteers are probably from the drug industry, from big pharma. And here I thought preventive medicine was to help people stay away from medicines, not to take preventive medications. A spokesperson for the task force said that dismissing members would be devastating to the health of the public and clinicians who rely on their guidance. And yeah, Lord, suffering cats. Are they joking? So just like with the teachers union who stood by as the kids in America got dumber and dumber, and the recently retired head of the teachers union actually proved on X she can't even spell. So this task force is allowing people to just get sicker and sicker. And they will lie to you and say, oh, people are going to suffer if they don't hear our wisdom. It's criminal. Right, Jenny?
It certainly is. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's so unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah. So that was that. Any questions before I go to our questions and answers?
Well, I wanted to let you know that Michelle G is her mom's having some incidents of atrial flutter, and she's trying to get her to up her Remag and her vitamin C powder to stabilize that. She's having a hard time. I suggested she might want to get her to rub it on her chest.
Right.
And just, toe the line there, Michelle, because it is very important. It definitely is. And I know you're willing to do that with your mom, which is great. And
you can't forget, though, to make sure you check in with your doctor. Don't overlook the fact that they have the diagnostics and they can tell us if something else is going on, if it looks like on an electrocardiogram, they can check and see if there's any heart damage occurring. And then that has to be looked at. So just try to use the services of your health insurance or whatever to get your diagnostics, and then decide whether or not you want to take their drugs or take more of the nutrients that your body is looking for.
Very good. Excellent. And Russ has asked about recovery from surgery. And Russ, we have an FAQ at customer service for that. So I'm just going to encourage you to call the customer experience team and let them share you with Dr. Dean's recommendations. So we're all caught up in that regard, Carolyn.
Yeah, and that's really interesting that came up about surgery, because we'll go along, everything is wonderful, and then plop, we face plant, and we have an injury, or something happens and we have to go for surgery. We have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared to take care of our injuries or whatever. I was going to do this in the hack, but with my elbow injury, which is all healed up, and my knee injuries, I threw off things, and every once in a while my foot started acting up. So what do? I get my baking tray, which is the size of my size 6 foot, and I pour in 16 ounces of our, it's called my foot soak. And yeah, I'm going to start naming our products, Jenny. I don't care. This is our Remag Magnesium. So I just said I'm working at my computer. I have my foot in in this silly little thing, and I pour the magnesium over my foot, and it just soaks in. It helps all the inflammation and all the rest of it. And I've been telling people about this for a while. A friend broke his little toe and said, "Well, what am I going to do? They want me to go to the hospital and maybe have surgery." But if you can, in my case, if you can feel the bones of your toe and they're not shifting and broken, then you bind undisplaced fractured toe. You just bind it up with a little cotton tape or just a little thick string, maybe a shoelace, and you soak your foot, and it will heal in a couple of days, according to the last person I told. You have to have these things on hand. You get it, itching ear or discharge from your eyes. That's silver. That's our Pico silver. It's non-preserved. It doesn't have anything in but very neutral pH silver that you can put in an animal's eyes or your ears, any orifice. Anyway, there's just so many things that you can have on hand that are natural. Get arnica, Arnica. It's a homeopathic for shock, swelling, bruising, and bleeding. I I I don't think it's in my bag right now, but I used to carry it. If you fall or trip or whatever, you immediately take 3 little pellets of your arnica to help with the shock, swelling, bruising, bleeding. So all these things are important to have on as a first aid. Do I have a first aid section in one of my books?
I don't know if you have it in the books that we have available right now, but there is definitely a lot of homeopathic first aid in the Future Health Now encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I'll have to look and see what you've got in there.
Right, right. Yes, Future Health Now encyclopedia. I think it might be on Amazon to download. We haven't switched that out yet because the FDA sort of came down on us and implied that I shouldn't be writing about my products in my book. So, what can you do?
What can you do? We just comply. All you can do is comply with the FDA and thank them for being so concerned about the health of all of our citizens, right, Carolyn?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They want to make sure you're not taking any dangerous vitamin C or magnesium. Be
That's
horrible.
right.
Okay. Questions and answers or testimonials. I think Sarah sent these. Our wonderful Sarah, our customer experience head honcho. So it might be from Amazon, these testimonials. Number 1, this is one of my favorite go-to products for maintaining my health. That's probably about our magnesium. And someone else, these are my go-to minerals for daily consumption. Maybe it's the same person because they're saying go-to. Just add a capful to a gallon of water and you're good to go. No, you add a capful to a liter of water and you're good to go. And I would never go without this product. So that's very sweet. I can go to the next one, the pros and cons of supplements. Actually, Jenny, I've jumped the gun and told you about NAD. Yeah, here's something that I notice. What they say about these products, that they say as you age, your body doesn't produce as much NAD, for example, and they scare you into taking this product. Is short for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Now, nicotinamide, that is another name for niacin B3. So it's heavily promoted as a coenzyme responsible for turning the food you eat into usable energy. So that's in the Krebs cycle, make energy, but you mostly need magnesium. It also plays a major role in DNA repair, cellular processes, and immune system function, but they all do. You'll read that with everything. So when they talk about the aging, how many times have we heard that? Everything declines as you age because you're not drinking enough sea salted water or taking your basic nutrients as whole food vitamins and picometer minerals. When you're younger, you may have some nutrient reserves, you get by on adrenaline, but when your tank is empty, you're told you're getting old. I repeat, the reality is that you're not drinking enough sea salted water or taking your basic nutrients. So instead of enhancing your NAD building blocks, which come from vitamin B3, you're given a synthetic form of B3 that will force your body to react instead of naturally making your NAD. So there's this force versus just the natural processing in the body. So then when I was reading about NAD, I read the best dosage and delivery method is either oral or intravenous. And they don't know which is best. It's still under investigation, but IV B3 will always be synthetic. And then I find that tryptophan is a precursor to NAD, and you'll get that in our Restructure protein powder. So then I looked at NAC, that's N-acetylcysteine, and that they're talking about that being involved with as a precursor to glutathione. And the amino acids cysteine, glutamine, and glycine help make the glutathione. Glutathione is a major antioxidant in the body. It's really heralded. And you can't take oral glutathione. The liver just breaks it down immediately. So all these amino acids are in Restructure. And we, knowing about glutathione, of course, we put extra methionine in our Realign with the B vitamins as a precursor to glutathione. But it's better than the other three amino acids because it's a methylated B and a sulfur B. So, more bang for the buck. And okay, so then, Rachel, do you have the, do you have a slide there of me at the MAHA meeting, the poster about, yes, very good. Okay, so I should have had this right after the MAHA talk. Fueling the Fight is the name of this fundraiser and panel discussion, and you'll see down in the corners my picture. I'm one of the little people who's going to be on this panel, and they highlight our friend Mike Tyson. So this is occurring this coming Friday, July 18th. And what they tell me is it's not going to be videoed, but they're going to push it out on Instagram. And the Instagram will probably be Vital Choice Project. Vital Choice Project. And there's also Maha for Arizona, which is the person who invited me. So MAHA numeral 4 Arizona to follow the Instagram. So that's going to be fun. And Ginny, can we get Brian to put out a notice to all our people about following us on Instagram for that meeting?
Yes, Elena can do that. No problem. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So seriously, this is going to be so much fun. I'm very excited. it's a way to get our message out. The other folks on the panel, I think one is cancer doctor. He does alternative cancer therapy with Laetril, the old apricot pit treatment. There's a pediatrician who's on the panel, and another person who just promotes lifestyle modification. So I think I've got the solutions. I've got the whole picture of, we've got organic farm, we've got a charity that supports the organic farm and healthy lifestyle, and we've got the dietary supplements that everybody could just take and be healthy and happy. And I've said for decades, I just wish we would get clinics to tell their people, okay, here's a handful of things you take. Let's do kind of a before and after. And actually, we're working on a study that incorporates that sort of philosophy, so that we can give proof to people that just by taking the nutrients that the cells want to make healthy cells, you can be healthy and extend your life. So we got the solutions.
Nan is going to be there Friday, Carolyn. She's saying on the chat line she bought a ticket and she's coming.
Oh, that is awesome. Isn't that wonderful?
Nan, we'll make you take pictures too. We never get enough pictures of Carolyn, so you can be on duty, Nan.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, Nan, be sure to tap me on the shoulder. That's awesome.
That's great. All right, excellent. Okay, very good.
Okay, what do we got now? I did my helpful hack, and we've got articles. We've got a few minutes left. Now look at this one. The next slide that Rachel put up: more days, more time to rethink antibiotics.
No. The slide we're looking at now is the Wellness Goals giveaway. We are doing a giveaway on Dr. Carolyn Dean's social media. And so what Elena is asking everybody to do is go to your Facebook or Instagram page and to look for the Wellness Goals giveaway, post. Just scroll through and look for that post, and then go into the entry form and put your name in. And what you're going to win is our Total Body Reset bundle, one-on-one wellness support from our customer service team, Magnesium, the Missing Link to Total Health book, which you can, if you already have a copy, use as a gift for a friend, and also access to our new LMS learning management system, where we're producing and providing Dr. Dean ongoing modules. So you've got all kinds of great stuff there. Be sure to seek out the Dr. Dean giveaway on Instagram and register for it. Okay, now you may continue, Carolyn.
Awesome. Thanks, Elena. That's wonderful. Perfect. Okay, then the next slide is more days, more time to rethink antibiotics. This was in the Medscape Medical News, June 30th, 2025. So it's recent. Okay, I've been talking about this for over 20 years. It's in my Death by Modern Medicine book that I wrote in 2005. And what these people are saying, and it was at some conference in Argentina, but it was a virtual conference. They say one of the most universally accepted beliefs around the world is that when you take antibiotics, you must complete the prescribed course, 7, 10, or 14 days, even after you start feeling better, in order to eliminate every last bacterium and prevent future relapse. But that recommendation doesn't make sense, they say, because there's no data to support it. So now they tell us, and instead, every additional day you take an antibiotic increases resistance. We should only treat for as long as is necessary. And so this was said at this virtual lecture. And I say antibiotic resistance is epidemic. and this is all they can come up with. Cut down a day or two of antibiotic use, that's it. Not to shift away from antibiotics and look at something like our Pico Silver. Unfortunately, they will never get to that point. Only people that listen in on this show will get to that point. So then this speaker reported that over 150 randomized controlled trials across 24 infection types have demonstrated that short antibiotic courses yield the same clinical outcomes as longer ones. So again, this proves that researchers are just in it for their salary. They're not interested in proof, because wouldn't a dozen studies be sufficient to prove a point? And as I said, I wrote about antibiotic resistance in 2005 in Death by Modern Medicine. I doubt if there is ever going to be a change, because doctors are being taught to follow recipes, and they really might not be able to even think for themselves and know how or when to shorten a course of antibiotics. A lot of doctors are very fear-based in their practice. They don't want to be sued, so they'll just follow the recipe to the letter of the law. If you tell them, well, judge how the person's doing and take them out, they won't. And then there's the fact that most cases of colds and flus are viral. They don't respond to antibiotics, yet antibiotics are constantly given for viral infections, which is a huge cause of resistance. And doctors are not aware of any alternatives, like using picometer silver in a nebulizer, or taking vitamin C or vitamin D or picometer zinc. And this was quite obvious in the COVID years. So that's, I guess, mainstream medicine catching up with what we've known in alternative medicine for decades, that there's huge antibiotic resistance, and we have to do otherwise. Do, as I said, the silver, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D. Right, Ginny?
Here I am. Galina is asking, or Garlina is asking, do you think it's necessary to take antibiotics before dental cleanings?
Well, that's another kind of prescription, because doctors are afraid that the bacteria from the mouth will affect someone who has some sort of heart condition. I mean, they may just give it to someone who has heart disease or an arrhythmia or is on heart drugs. I cannot give a blanket, don't bother. But I've never been offered antibiotics when I get a dental cleaning. And what I do is I do a big rinse with my Pico Silver before and after, and I make sure I'm flossing every day, so I don't get to the point where they really have to gouge out the dental plaque and all the rest of it. So everybody has to gauge it, but you can find in the literature more commentary about not needing antibiotics around dental cleaning. It's just been a fear-based treatment.
Okay, very good. Now, also our wonderful Patrick, who we completely, totally love in every way, is asking this question tonight. Do you need to take collagen protein in order to supplement collagen building, or is the Total Body Reset products enough?
I know, and I remember a couple months ago I said, no, you don't need it. And then I'll read something and, oh, yes, maybe. And then I don't like the taste of it. So I'm just taking more vitamin C, our whole C reset, and the restructure protein powder. And see, when you take a collagen it's a food, it's a bunch of amino acids. The body's going to break down those amino acids and takes the ones it wants to make the protein that it needs. If it needs collagen, it'll take the breakdown product of collagen and utilize it. It's not like you take collagen and it stays collagen and it slaps onto your soft tissue as collagen. I mean,
Right.
that's just not what happens. So what you're doing with collagen is giving yourself these specific amino acids that the body will utilize. But if it doesn't have copper and vitamin C and whatever else is going to make the collagen, it's not going to help.
Right.
So I've talked myself out of using collagen again.
Yeah. It seems like it's an ultra processed food. Like I'm sure we have our own problems in the dietary supplement industry because you know how things are processed, Carolyn, and we've seen it. The heat treatments and the way this is supposedly beef bovine. So it starts out as an animal and it ends up as a powder on your counter. And to me, that just seems overly processed. And I think if you took the same amount of money that you were going to spend on that collagen and invested it in very good protein sources that were food, you'd be equally as benefited.
Yeah, I think so, because we really get overly advertised, with these long tracks of all the benefits, but just the common sense. You take in a food, the body breaks it down, takes the building blocks of that food and puts it in the priority where it's needed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, very good. These days, with the price of eggs, you can probably get away with eating a lot of eggs and a couple other things and be doing equally as well, because I know egg prices have become very affordable again.
But you have to go organic and free range, and
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
really do. You
yeah.
really have to.
Organic, free range eggs are very good.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 3 minutes to the top of the hour, Carolyn. What do you want to talk about next?
Oh, okay. Do I have anything exciting? Look at this. Lower your LDL cholesterol because of dementia risk.
Huh?
So here's what they're doing. They're saying an LDL level below 70 milligrams per deciliter was associated with a 26% reduced risk of all-cause dementia and 28% lower risk of Alzheimer's, with statin use further decreasing that risk. So it gives clinicians a strong rationale to continue statins in older adults and those at risk. So as we're deciding that LDL cholesterol is not important for heart disease, but you can use it for dementia. Keep using it. Stop. Don't throw that away. But once again, in their decision here, they do not tell us whether they're talking about relative risk or absolute risk. When they say risk, they're just meaning relative risk. Absolute risk is they're actually doing the numbers. And I've talked about this a lot, but just we don't have time to go into the details. But if they mean a generalized relative risk at 20%, 26%, the absolute risk is likely to be 2.6%. So the moral of this story is medical research is trying to find other ways to spin the cholesterol story so they can keep selling statins. And with that, I end my case. What am I doing?
You complete your dissertation on how ridiculous it all is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. More statins, 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 statins.
No, yeah, it's
They're never going to go.
Common sense, common sense, common sense. I
Yeah.
rest my case. That's what I do. I rest my case that
Very good.
drugs and what else? Oh yeah, this Dr. Asim, what is it, Malhotra, Malhotra. He just received an award for best medical communicator in the world. And I can't find his speech anywhere. I don't know if they're suppressing it. He accepted this award and gave a speech on Sunday, and that's yesterday. And what he's done over the years is in 2005, he started speaking out against sugar. And I mean, I got attacked for speaking out about sugar in the 1990 when I went on Canadian CBC TV, and I spooned out 10 teaspoons of sugar. Oh, this is what you get in a can of soda, and 20 teaspoons, this is what you get in a milkshake. And it was a Christmas show, the Deanie Petty Show, famous TV show up in Canada. And the audience was all kids, and they were just, oh my gosh, they showed the pictures. So after that, the sugar lobby group in Canada came at me hell-bent to bury me. And that was in 1999. So 2005, he's talking about sugar. And then a few years later, 2008, he's talking about cholesterol and statins, how statins aren't working. And then he really got into it when he was concerned about COVID shots. He took a shot, his father took a shot. They both had side effects. His father died of a heart attack. And he's concerned. He wants better studies, research before going certain places. So I just want to give a shout out to his work and how he's really put himself out there. I've kind of put myself out there, very gently, but I have, my magnesium deficiency experience that allowed me to get more into the solutions business, which is what I love. It's not just talk, because you can tell people, oh, you have to take all these nutrients. You have to get the right nutrients. And that's what we deliver on. Our RNA Reset, New Capstone is the name of the company. We are delivering the nutrients that work. Over to you, Ginny, so we can talk about Pico Pets.
Yes, and Pico Pets is our wrap up tonight, and that is picopets.com. Equally concerned about your pets as we are about your human health. Fantastic for the pet family. And we just started a quiz this week on social media, and we're having a lot of great response. Find our channel, get on the quiz, put your information in for your family pets, see what you come up with. But we're here advocating for the health of your pets as well.
And come and visit me at Fueling the Fight. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona, Friday, July 18.
Correct. And if you can make it with it there, be there. If not, follow it on Instagram, and we've got it right here. All right, everybody. Thank you. We'll be back next week. You'll be back then, right, Carolyn?
You have been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean, the doctor of the future. Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.